We affirm a CD. Yes, I want to have that music at my beck and call at all times. Yes. This is a beloved community. Each one of you show up here for a different reason. And each one of you is here today by a divine appointment. The executive team, these women that I serve with, that I love, that I hold dear, the spiritual values, the core values of the Unity Institute Student Association, we hold these values together of spirit-led and love, joy, inclusiveness, abundance. We serve together, and we came to the conclusion that we wanted to gift you, this beloved community, a service today. And it being 2012 and all the media hype about 2012 and apocalyptic expectations, we thought that we would look at the book of Revelation. Now, you might think that you've come here for a white stone ceremony because that's what we do in January in Unity, right? And in fact, it was the book of Revelation that we were interested in, and the white stone ceremony comes out of the book of Revelation. So we're going to talk just a little bit about Revelation. And what I want you to know is that the book of Revelation, if you were to sum it up, you could do it in 2 words. Could you believe that you could do all that visioning in 2 words? You really could. The first word would be community. And the second word would be change. The book of Revelation is a story, a vision, a writing about what happens when a community goes through change. Now, I would love to stand here for the next 3 hours and talk to you about the book of Revelation, because those of you that know me know I love the Bible, I love studying the Bible, and I love Revelation. They gave me 10 minutes, and I probably already used 2. So what I want you to know is that John, a servant of Christ, was exiled to the Isle of Patmos, where he had a vision of the Lamb of God. I'm going to call Jesus Christ for this talk here today. A vision of Jesus Christ who came to him and told him that he was going to receive a vision and that he should write of this vision to the angels of the 7 churches. Now, these 7 churches were in Asia Minor. And the largest church, the capital church, was called Pergamum. Now, what John was to tell these churches is that each one of them were doing something right, but they were also messing up on something. And Pergamum, they were being very faith-filled. In fact, one of their own had just been martyred. And they had stood by their faith in this case. But in other ways, they were being faithless. And John was to write and to tell them of this and of the vision that would hopefully support them in their state of persecution and have them hold to the faith. Pergamum, what they were doing is that they were an intellectual center. In fact, Charles Fillmore, in his Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, talks about Pergamum as a center of intelligence. So when we're thinking about this today, this is where I would, from my place of intelligence, would want to talk to you for 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks about Revelation, and that wouldn't get us to a spiritual experience, which is really what we came for. The spiritual experience was that of holding true to their faith. This was a congregation, a community that was being persecuted because they refused to honor the Caesar, the emperor of the Roman Empire, by walking into the temple, taking a piece of incense, sprinkling it on the altar, and saying, "Caesar is God." They were being called to hold to their faith. Now, this was not a firmly set community. This wasn't a group of people who'd been together for generation and generation. This wasn't an ethnic group in New York City that was embedded in a certain neighborhood and knew who everybody's grandmother and grandfather, and it wasn't that kind of a community at all. This was a community of new Christians. They were exploring their faith, and they were trying to figure out how could they live together and hold true to these lessons. It wasn't easy. The Unity Institute Student Association is a group of students who have come together for many different reasons. We don't know each other's grandparents. We don't know even where we're all from. We come together for a specific purpose, and sometimes we struggle to find commonality. We struggle to hold our faith in the face of a community in change. You see, this community underwent a change about 2 years ago when our association started a form of government called holacracy. Now, that might as well just be a big word like Pergamum or purgatory, anything else at this point. But the Unity Institute Student Association adopted this form of government. And I'll tell you, people, it's been tough. The good news is no one person has been martyred. No one person has been cast into the boiling cauldron in the shape of a bull that Antipas was thrown into. But as a community, we have suffered. We have hurt. And although communities come together for lots of different reasons, one of the reasons that communities come together is to see the beloved in each other. We come together as the Unity Institute Student Association to see the beloved in each other. And this is a word that has great meaning for me because this was my white stone word last year. You see, the white stone represents freedom. It is a metaphor from the Roman government. The Roman citizens each were given a white stone. But if they went to prison, the white stone was taken away. If they were released from prison, the white stone was given back. And in the letter to Pergamum, John writes the following verse. Jesus promises, to everyone who conquers the persecution, the negative thoughts, the discord, to everyone who conquers, I will give a white stone, and on the white stone is written a new name, one that no one except the one who receives it knows. You're going to go through this ritual of the white stone and receiving a name, one that perhaps no one else will ever know. That name is something unique to you, intimate to you. It is your relationship with what you call God. For me last year, that name was beloved, and it served as a focal point. I kept my white stone on my prayer altar, and it served as a focal point for me throughout the year. Whatever was going on in my life, all things could be made new when I focused on my relationship with God and this name that I am God's beloved. You are God's beloved. You are a child of God. And as you sit in meditation, as you are invited to discern what is your name for this coming year, I know through experience from many years of doing this white stone ceremony that absolutely unbelievable, remarkable experiences can come forth out of this simple spiritual activity of discerning a name. Now, if for some reason your name doesn't occur to you today, don't worry, it will. You've set the intention. It will come in the days ahead of you. What I know is true for each one of us is that as we hold thoughts in mind, they produce in kind. And as we hold thoughts of expectation that this is the best year ever, truly, all things are made new. I invite you now to settle for our time of meditation. I invite Deb up here to lead us through this white stone ceremony.